Peace, Brother Xavier. Can I ask you something?
Yeah, go ahead. Pull the trigger.
Do you have a problem with black folks?
The answer is no. I don't have a problem with black people. I mean, I'm a black person, so I don't have a problem with black people. But what I do have a problem with is some of the things that we do as black people. Now, people will say, other people do these things too, but I don't necessarily believe that. Um, there are things that are going on inside of black society when it comes to how we raise families, how we develop and groom and grow our children. I have a problem with those things more than anything else because I feel that if we're going to perpetuate, black society into the future, I think one of the most important assets is the children because the children are the future. If we don't take care of them and raise them properly, we're not going to be able to teach them how to circumnavigate their way through this society. And as much as we talk about how it is being a black person and how it's different to live as a black person, that alone, if we believe that, all right, and I think a lot of us do, if we believe that, the first thing we should be doing is teaching our children how to circumnavigate their way through this world as a black person. And that is my problem, that we want to claim that things are so much more difficult for us and so different for us. But it appears at times that we are not even taking that into consideration. We're using it as a talking point because a lot of us, if we really believe that, we'd be putting more investment in our children's education, their growth, and their development because we already know what it's like out there. So we should be preparing the kids for what it's like out there. And that is one problem that I have with us, that I don't think that we properly prepare our children for this so-called different life that we're going to live as a black person.
Do you hate your mother?
No, I don't hate my mother. Just like everybody else, I had a mother. And my mother wasn't the worst mother in the world by no stretch. But my mother was also a married woman. Um, my parents had been married for, I believe, 54 or 55 years. I forget when my father died. So, I've never hated my mother. And I don't hate mothers. It's not that I hate mothers. I just believe that mothers are the people who kind of set the tone for the child. I believe that the mother kind of sets the tone until the father can step in. Now, when there is no father to step in, you have this mother there who is not only just setting the tone, she's also raising, rearing, and developing the children. She's giving the children ideology. She's giving them a mind frame. She's giving them a template, how to think, how to act, what to believe, how to respond, their sense of discernment, if they have any. I mean, all of that's coming from her. So when there is no father around, it is very important for the mother to be putting some type of values into the child because she is the main adult. All right. She is the most important adult in this child's life, especially if there are no men involved in this child's life, whether it be an uncle, a grandfather, or someone else, or even a stepdad. If there's no man inside this child's life, I mean, this child is going to have a slanted view of things. And I think a lot of the problems that come from black society, it comes because of the mother's teachings or her lack thereof. Because this is how they're learning to be an adult, by watching her. So, I mean, for people to think that I hated my mother, absolutely not. I mean, my mom was my mom. I didn't hate her, and it wasn't like she was Claire Huxtable either. Absolutely not. She wasn't Claire Huxtable. But I think I probably would have hated my mom if I didn't have a father. And I think a lot of people, they don't hate their mom. That's the problem. Even though mom has done things that are hate worthy. But me, I don't hate my mother. But I tell you what, I don't think she was my premier parent. I believe that my father was my premier parent. And I'm glad he was. Because if it wasn't for him, guess what? I probably wouldn't be the person that I am today. Would have nothing to do with my mother. Absolutely not. Because I believe I would have been a different kind of person if I had been raised by just my mom. Because my mom would have been a different person if she didn't have my father. If y'all can understand what I'm saying. She would have been a different person. All right. She would have went about our development and our rearing different if the old man wasn't there. Therefore, we would have been different because we would have been being raised not only without a father, but a different type of mother.
Do you dislike black women, black women, black women, black women?
Well, this is part of, or should I say, a continuation of the other question. Now, people think when you say things about women, they automatically go to, oh, you hate your mother, or you hate black women. But, I mean, nothing can be further from the truth for me. I mean, I have a black wife that I've known for 23 years. I have 2 adult black daughters, and I also have granddaughters. I have sisters. I have sisters-in-laws. I have a lot of black women around me, and they will tell you one thing, that, I'm rough on them. I am. I'm very rough on them. But I don't think they consider it to be hate, because it's not. It's not. I mean, I don't hate black women. I have my critiques of them, absolutely. But to say I hate them, absolutely not. In fact, I think that many brothers like myself, the reason why we focus on black women when we talk is because we're black. We're black. We have black mothers. We have black daughters, black sisters, black female cousins. And I think that we want to believe that we can make it so these women aren't broken. We want them to not be broken. Because I do believe that when we're talking about this stuff, a lot of us are talking about our mothers. We're talking about our sisters. We're talking about our aunts. We're talking about our daughters. So I think it's only fair that we say the things we say, because we are all related to black women. I mean, black women, they're related to somebody, right? It's not like they fell out of a tree. Unless they're some type of orphan and they don't know who they are, they're related to somebody. And I believe some of them are related to us. Therefore, we speak on them because, in a sense, we do kind of care about the ones that are related to us. We care about them, even if we don't care about the other ones. Because even if a person does claim to hate women, what if they do? Now what? Okay, they hate women. Now what? Now what? What are you going to do about it? Exactly. Nothing.
Do you help black folks? Black folks? Black folks?
Well, I try to help black folks as much as I can. Everybody knows I run a small business. All I've ever hired were brothers. That's just a fact. But we do other things too. I mean, I don't really go into all of it because, everybody knows my wife is a bleeding heart. I mean, she's been doing things and feeding homeless and giving them money ever since I could remember, ever since we lived in New York. That's just who she is. So a lot of times I have to help black folks even when I don't want to. But over the course of many years, we have done many things. I have done many things for black people. We've helped pay for funerals. We've paid people's bills. We've paid people's car notes. I've let people stay in my house when they didn't have anywhere to stay. And I've done it more than once. And I've done it over the course of probably 10 to 15 years. You know, I've given people places to live. I get out there with my wife and I help her, feed homeless folks. Um, I've given black people rides. I've done all kinds of shit. So, I mean, a lot of people don't know that, when it comes to black people, I do a lot. I've spent a lot of money on black folks. I've sacrificed a lot for some black folks. I've compromised for a lot of black folks. So I don't have a problem helping black people. But I think one of the main things is that black people need to help themselves, because those are the people you're more willing to help. All right. I don't have a problem helping black people, but I like helping black people who at least are making an effort. Those are the ones who are worthy of help.
Do you believe in white supremacy?
Yeah, I do. I do believe that white supremacy is a thing. However, I think that we give it way too much power. I think we give it way too much oxygen. I believe it's something that we should be using as a motivator. All right? We should be using that as a motivator to do better and to have more and to strive for more. Now, a lot of people have accused me of not believing that it exists, but I do believe it exists. I do believe that the white power structure has an effect on black people, but I also believe that it has too much of an effect. It has an effect that we have given it, because a lot of us make it so prominent in our lives that it slows us down. I refuse to do that. I'm not just going to run and hide, under the covers like you would the boogeyman. In fact, to make the boogeyman less relevant, you must go ahead and do all the things that the boogeyman claims you cannot do. That is how you defeat it. And I look at white supremacy the same way, as if it's a boogeyman. It's there. Absolutely. I believe that it's there. But I believe that it's only as much of a hindrance as you allow it to be.
Do you think about the children?
Absolutely. I think about the little tykes all the time. That's why I do a lot of things that I do, because I think about them. Because a lot of these children, man, they never had a chance, for the simple fact of who they were birthed by. They came right out, man, in life, and their destiny was already written. They were already destined to live in poverty and destitute and end up in prison and in the cemetery. And, their destiny was written by the person who gave them life. Because a lot of these kids, their parents didn't give them a future. Their parents didn't ensure a future for them. They didn't. They didn't ensure a future for these children. So the ones that didn't end up in the penitentiary or in the cemetery ended up just like their parents, or worse. Or worse. So I do think about them. That's why I jump on these old mamas. Because I believe the children are more important than they are. I believe the children are not properly protected from abuse and molestation and, impoverished conditions of despair. I believe that they aren't protected from that. And it pisses me off, because they didn't ask to be here. So yes, I do think about them. You can see it in a lot of my content, especially when they're put in a position where they're abused or hurt or neglected. Yes, it bothers me. It'll always bother me, especially when I know there's children out there being treated worse than I treat my freaking dog.
Do you have hope for black society?
I have somewhat of a hope for black society, but only parts of it. I think parts of it are going to just cave in on itself, cannibalize itself in theory. But I do believe there is a contingent of black people that are going to move forward, strive forward, build things, do better. Yes. Yes. I have hope for that. Absolutely. But I also know that some parts of black society are never going to go anywhere. In fact, they're going to get worse. They're going to get worse. And some of them are just going to remain the same. But I do have a glimmer of hope for quite a bit of black society. Because I know not all black society are these miscreant Wells that we often talk about. I would like to believe that that's most of black society is not the miscreant Wells. I believe that the majority of black society is moving on, is doing better, is striving for more. So those are the people that I have hope for in black society. The other part of black society that's just caving in on itself, there's nothing you can do about that anyway. Hope isn't going to do anything for those parts of black society. Absolutely not. Especially the parts of black society that are hopeless. But that's all.
Do you respect the folks who disagree with you?
I do. I do respect people who disagree with me. There is this saying that we all, must agree. I don't believe that. I believe that we can respectfully disagree. We don't always have to see things eye to eye. We don't. I don't believe that we all need an echo chamber, because there's many people who come around me that I come in contact with that disagree with me. And likewise, there's a lot of people that I disagree with. I don't have a problem with disagreement. I just have a problem with disrespect. You can disagree with me without disrespecting me. Now, when people try to combine those things, that's when I have a problem. When you want to disagree and you also want to be disrespectful, because those two things are not simpatico. You don't have to have both of them. You don't. But I don't have a problem with people, who may lead to disagreement with me with one of my arguments. But if you're going to disagree with me, disagree with my argument. Telling me you don't like my hat, or calling me ugly, or calling me a clown, or calling me Sambo, or calling me any of those things, that's not disagreeing with me. That's using ad hominems. I'd prefer you disagree with my argument. That's what makes the most sense. You disagree, go ahead and counter whatever argument I'm making or whatever statement I'm making. Calling me a name isn't a disagreement. I think we get that mixed up. We think if we call somebody enough names, that proves our disagreement. No, you have to counter whatever you claim you disagree with, or it doesn't even make any sense.
I get you now, but you still say things that I don't like.
Yeah, and I'm going to continue to do so. Everybody knows that. But one thing I won't do is disrespect you. But if you think I'm going to stop saying things that you don't like, good luck with that.
I understand even more the whole open your mind thing now.
Cool. Like I always say, I'm not here to change minds. I'm here in search of a few that may be possibly open.
For now, I will say peace. I appreciate the conversation.
I appreciate the conversation too. It's always good to sit here and chop it up about some things that we normally don't talk about. And come back in time. I'll be right here on the T.P.O.T. YouTube page.
However, I will be back again for another round of X. Do you?
Cool. I look forward to it. Peace.
Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you?
Open your mind.
Only from T.P.O.T. Media. Open your mind.